Good day everyone. This lecture is in continuation with our videos in biotechnology, life sciences, and in this video we are going to deal with basics of data representation. I am Abhinav Jagtap, a former data scientist from Axis Bank with special knowledge in data science and AI. These days, I am faculty at University Teaching Department, CSV2 Bhilai. Although I mainly know about data science and AI, today I want to talk about how important it is to show data in a good way when we are dealing with data representation in computational biology. Even though my background is mostly in data science and AI, I understand how crucial computational biology is in pushing scientific exploration, especially in life sciences. In computational biology, lots of information is created using different techniques like genomics. Figuring out what this information means and looking at it closely needs really smart computer tricks and tools that can make this data tell us a story. So, being a data scientist, I know how meaningful it is to represent data properly. This means taking raw biological fact and turning them into a clear structure that can be studied and shown in a good way. This lets us find patterns, links, trends in a data that might stay hidden if we don't organize it neatly. And when we organize data well, it helps us catch mistakes or things that don't match up, which is really important to get our biology analysis right. Well, I'm all about data science and AI. I'm also pretty excited to mix this cool area with computational biology. I want to share some ideas that might be useful for those of you working in this super interesting and fast changing field. So, the first question comes in my mind and your mind, in everyone's mind, is what exactly is data representation? To make it simple, let me take you to a journey through a tale of Mahabharata to help us grasp the concept of data representation. So imagine you are a wise Sanjay standing by the side of King Dhritarashtra. Sanjay possessed a special gift, a divine sight, allowing him to watch the battle unfold from a distance. With a great care, he painted a vivid picture of the complete battlefield, describing each and every twist and turns to the blind king. Now, let's pause for a moment and think about why this way of sharing information was so important. You thought about it? Now let me tell you. Firstly, it empowered the king who couldn't see with his own eyes to make wise choices and plan strategies during heat of the moment, though he was sitting aside and the complete battle was taken care by someone else. But still, this gift of sight from afar became his window into the chaos of war. Secondly, it enabled the blind king to truly grasp and imagine events as they unfold. Even though his eyes couldn't witness it directly. Now, the last point is, while Sanjaya's skillful narration condensed all the important details into a clear and meaningful message, ensuring the king received the essential insights. Now, come forward, fast forward with me in today's world, and we find ourselves in a similar position as of King Dhritarashtra. We are surrounded by the ocean of data, information pouring into us from all the sides. It's like trying to navigate a forest without a clear path. This is where the magic of data representation enters the scene. Just as Sanjaya made a complex battlefield accessible to the blind king, data representation helps us understand complicated information around us. Think of it as a way to create visual maps of data. These maps make things easier to understand. Just like Sanjaya's word painted a clear image of battlefield, they let us see patterns, trends, and connections that might have been hidden in the flood of information. In simple words, data representation is like a translator that converts confusing data in a language that we all can comprehend. So, my friends, Next time you feel lost in a sea of information, remember the tale of Sanjaya and the King Dhritarashtra. And remember, just as Sanjaya's narrated or his narration was guiding light for the blind king, data representation can be your guiding light through the vast sea of data in the modern world. Let's look at another good example. Imagine you are a detective wearing a hat, right? But instead of solving mysterious or mysteries about people, you are solving mysteries about plants. One day, you came across two plants that look almost same, but they live in different parts of the world. You wonder why they long lost plant cousins, just distance acquaintances. To crack this botanical case, you decided to become a plant gene detective. Okay, you focus on a specific part of the plant's cell, a bit like their plant DNA. But here's a cool part: you don't need a magnifying glass. You need some science magic. You take out your super powered microscope and can see tiny things called molecules. And guess what? You find some special molecules in the cell of both plants. These molecules are like secret messages written in a secret plant language. The secret messages are made up of only 4 letters: A, T, C, and G. Just like the ABCs, but for plants. Each letter stands for a different building blocks, and the order of this letter spells out the plant's story. It's like super ancient recipe book written in a mysterious code. You carefully read the secret message from both plants. You notice something mind blowing. The letters in the messages match up almost like they are telling a similar story. But then you spot a few letters that are different, like plant specific accent. A light bulb goes off in your head. These different letters holds the key. They are the unique ingredients that make each plant special. Even though they look alike, you have uncovered the plant version of the family secret, the hidden recipe that gives each plant distinct flair. With each detective work complete, or with your detective work complete, you excitedly share your findings with other plant detectives around the world. They are amazed by how you have used these simple letters to unveil the plant's connection and differences. And just like that, by reading the secret plant messages, you have solved a botanical mystery and added another fascinating chapter to the books of nature's secret. But how do you manage to make sense of the secret messages written in A, C, A, T, C, and G? This is your data representation comes in. This is the exact place where your data representation comes in. You will see those letters like raw data, the ingredients of the mystery. To understand and compare them easily, scientists use clever ways to represent this data. They might create colorful graphs or charts that turns A, T, C, and G letters into visual patterns. Imagine a colorful bar chart where each color represents one letter. A could be red, T could be blue, and so on. By looking at these charts, scientists can quickly spot the similarities and differences between different plants' secret messages. So, the data representation takes the raw plant language, those A, T, C, and G letters, and turns it into something our brains can grasp more easily. It's like taking a complex puzzle and putting the pieces together in a clear picture. Thanks to smart data representation detective like you can share their discoveries with others, helps to understand secret of nature and continue to unlock the wonders. Okay, now let's dive deep into some real data reorientation or visualization techniques. We'll explore each type of visualization. Some major type of graphs are bar charts, line charts, scatter plots, pie charts, and heat maps. In the image, you can clearly see them all. Now, let me explain them one by one. I'm going to start with bar charts. Imagine you have a list of different birds in a park. You want to know which one are the most common. It's like counting how many friends you have in each type. Instead of just looking at a long list, you can use bar charts. These are like tall rectangles that show how many birds are there. In our case study, we use bar charts to quickly see which bird species are most common in the park. This is super helpful because it tells the park managers which birds needs special attention. If some birds are not seen very often, they might need extra care to make sure they are safe. The park can also or organize fun activities for visitors who want to find specific bird species. For example, if the bar chart shows the red robins are in the most common birds, the park can focus on preserving their habitats. On the other hand, if colorful parrots are less common, the park might need to protect their homes even more. In this way, bar charts helps park managers to plan and prioritize their efforts to take good care of all different birds in the park. Now let's talk about line charts. Imagine you are drawing a squiggly line that goes up and down like a roller coaster. In our case study, we use different line charts to show how the population of the specific bird species changes over many years. Think of it like tracking the number of cookies that you eat each day. If you notice that some days you eat a lot and some it's just a few, the line of your chart will go up and down. In the same way, if we track how many birds of a certain types are there in the park each year, the line on the chart will show as if the number goes up or down. This is really important because it helps researchers understand what's happening to the birds. If the line suddenly drops down like a roller coaster taking a steep turn, you could mean something bad happening. Maybe their homes are getting destroyed or weather is changing too much. By looking at the line charts, expert can figure out what's affecting the birds and find ways to help them. Now let's explore scatter plots. Imagine you're playing with a toy cars and you want to see if big cars are heavier and smaller than smaller ones. Scatter plot helps us figure out if two things are related by putting dots on a graph. In our case study, scatter plot helps us to understand the connection between bird's wingspan and its body weight. We draw dots for each bird, where the position on the graph shows its wingspan and weight. If the dots mostly goes up and to the right, it means bigger birds are usually heavier. This can give us clues about how birds adapt to their environments. For example, if we see that birds with bigger wingspans tends to be heavier, it might mean that the larger wings helps them to fly better or catch more food. This kind of information is like a puzzle piece that helps us understand how different birds survive and thrive in their habitats. Now, let's take a closer look at a pie chart. Imagine you have a delicious pie and you want to know how much of it is filled with different kinds of fruits. A pie chart helps us see the proportions of different things in a clear and, of course, yummy way. In our case study, we use pie charts to understand what different bird species like to eat. Instead of apples and cherries, we are looking at insects, seeds, and other birds' food. The size of each slice of the pie shows how much of their diet each type of food makes up. This information is really important for researchers because it helps them to know what roles each bird species play in the park's ecosystem. If a big part of a pie is insects, it means many birds are gobbling up bugs. This can affect bugs population and in turn impact the whole environment. Pie chart help us to see how different birds fit into the food web and how they influence their surrounding. Now, Let's move on to heat maps. Imagine a map that changes colors like mood ring, showing us where birds like to hang out. Heat maps are like treasure map that reveals favorite spots of different bird species. In our case study, we use heat maps to show different areas in the park each bird species prefer. Some birds might like higher places with cooler temperature, while others prefer warmer spots with lower down. By looking at colors on the map, researchers can tell where each type of bird feels most at home. This information helps park managers to create safe and comfortable space for the birds. They can plan things like planting trees or putting up bird houses in the right places. Heat maps also show us how birds adapt to different climates and altitudes, which is super useful for protecting them in changing environments. There are some graphs which are not present in given picture, but they are also used in some specific cases. Let's explore this three more type of visualization that are really helpful in understanding bird data. Now let us look about maps and geographical visualizations. Imagine you have a big map that shows all the cool places you want to visit. In our case study, this maps help us to see where different plant species like to hang out in the park. Using maps, park authorities can pinpoint specific areas with lots of different bird species. This information is like treasure map for bird watchers. It helps the park create special paths and safe havens for birds. Imagine you are building a bird hotel. You'd want to place it where birds like to be, right? This maps guides the certain or creation of the bird friendly spaces and trails for visitors. This visualization lets everyone know where they are most likely to see their favorite birds. Plus, it's a secret code for making sure that the birds are happy in the park, stays and they stays a wonderful home for them. Next is the network diagrams. Now let's talk about network diagrams. Imagine you are drawing lines that connects your friends, showing who knows who. In our case study, this diagrams helps us understand the relationship between different bird species in the park. Think of it as a friendship web amongst the birds. Some birds might rely on the other for help or food, just like friends help each other. By drawing lines between the birds, we create a map who is connected to whom. This is really important because it helps us see which birds are super important for keeping the whole ecosystem balanced. For instance, if a certain bird helps spread seeds for plants, and those plants provide home for insects and other birds that other birds eat, it's like a chain reaction. If one bird disappears, it could affect many others. Network diagrams help us to understand this connections, and that's a big help in keeping parks natural balance. The last visualization is the 3D visualization. So finally, let's explore 3D visualization. Imagine watching a movie that makes you feel like you are right inside the story. 3D visualization helps us see things in three dimensions, just like real life. In our case study, this visualization shows us how birds move in relation to altitudes, how high up, something of that kind, and time. It's like watching a bird adventure in 3D. This information is really handy for park management. They can figure out the best times and altitudes for birds watching tours without disturbing the birds too much. Imagine if you are trying to watch a bird's nest, you wouldn't want to disturb them, right? With 3D visualization, park authorities can plan tours and activities that are exciting for people while still keeping the birds safe and happy. This visualization technique is like a special toolkit that helps scientists and park managers understand birds and nature's pattern. They use these tools to solve puzzles about the bird's life and make sure park is a wonderful place for both people and our feathered friends, who are of course birds. Do you want to create similar plots? Don't worry, I will be explaining you all to how we can implement this particular type of plots in upcoming lectures. But in this lecture we are going to end by looking at one of the case studies that will open up your mind and enhance your liking for data science, data analytics, data representations and graphs. In the world of studying living things using computers, there was a big puzzle to solve in early 2000s. Scientists wanted to figure out how proteins, that are tiny building blocks inside the cell, talk to each other and work together. But this was really hard because there were so many proteins and they interacted in a complex way. So scientists tried new ways to find out these interactions. They used a spatial test to see which protein might be friends or partners. They got tons of data, but it was like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Then something amazing happened. Data visualization came to rescue. Instead of just looking at boring numbers and words, scientists started drawing pictures. They made a kind of map where proteins are like dots and the lines between them showed how they talk to each other. This made things much clearer. A big thing that happened was creation of a spatial database called String in 2000. That's where a clever computer program called Cytoscape came in. It helps scientists to turn the data into colorful and easy to understand pictures. These pictures showed which proteins are best friends and which are important in the group, and which might be causing problems in diseases like cancer. These pictures didn't just look cool, they helped scientists to understand things better. They saw patterns and connections that were hard to notice before this. And this helped them to find new ways to fight diseases by finding proteins that were causing trouble and figuring out how to stop them. The simple act of drawing pictures changed the game in the biology. It was like going from a jumbled puzzle to a clear picture. Scientists could learn more from diseases, more about diseases, find new ways to make medicines, and even, guess what, jobs unknown protein might have. In the end, the story shows that sometimes when things seem really complicated, a simple picture can make all differences. Just like using a map to find your way, scientists use pictures to navigate the complex world of protein and discover new things about how life works. As we conclude this video on data representation in computational biology, remember, just like Sanjaya illustrated King Dhritarashtra's path, data representation illuminates our journey through the sea of information. By mastering the art of visualizing complex data, you are equipped to unlock insights, make informed decisions, and contribute to groundbreaking research in the field. The fusion of data science, AI, and computational biology offers an array of exciting opportunities, from academic research and healthcare advancement to biotech industries and pharmaceuticals. Your expertise in the data representation can shape the future of life sciences. As data scientists, researchers, and experts, you bridge the gap between raw data and meaningful insights. In the upcoming module, we are going to implement these concepts using Python codes. However, you are welcome to explore these tools like MATLAB, as these functionalities are also available there. Embrace the challenges of transforming data into compelling stories. much like Sanjay narrated the battlefield's chaos. Let's embark this journey together, utilizing data representation to decipher the mysteries of the life and revolutionize the world of computational biology. So, as I have given you a primary brief discussion about how this data visualization works in the computational biology, there are certain things that I, as a teacher, as a AI researcher, and a data science enthusiast, should tell you is, or not only focusing on the data visualization will help you, should also dive deep into the data science and AI fields. Today, in the field of generative AI, wherein we are kind of generating things in a very quick way, for example, with a fusion of chat GPT into certain things, the generative AI like GANs, we are kind of generating things in a real time, and in the fluctuations in the seconds we are generating new data. So I'll also give a bit of suggestion from my end that you should not limit yourself to the field of biology, because I have seen many of my students who are even having a degree in MBBS, they are trying to come up and take masters in AI and data science. So that's the craze of data science and AI in today's scenario, and you should be a part of this revolution, the fourth industrial revolution as we call AI is. So you should be part of this particular revolution, and you should be thriving to be part of AI engineers, data scientists, and other fields. Even if your primary focus or the primary aim or primary liking is for biology, I'll still suggest to dig deep into the field of data science and AI. Why? I'll tell you. Today, or even in the world of tomorrow, if you want to go and research about things related to any disease, and you want the disease to be solved by a human element, it is not always possible, because there are enormous data that are there, and sometimes it's difficult for a human being to make decisions out of those data. And in those conditions, AI and data science becomes a very useful tools, and it creates a different pace and paths for you, and it creates lots of opportunity for you. So the fusion of data science and AI and computational biology offers an array of exciting opportunities, from academic research and healthcare advancements to biotech industries and pharmaceuticals. Your expertise in data representation can shape the future of life sciences. As a data scientist, researchers, and experts, you bridge the gap between raw data, remember, raw data, and the meaningful insights. In the upcoming module, we are going to implement this complete concepts. What concept I'm talking about? Whatever graphs that we have created, we are going to deal and implement this complete concept using Python code. However, you are welcome to explore other tools like MATLAB, as those functionalities are also available. Embrace this challenge of transforming data into compelling stories. Much like Sanjaya narrated the complete battlefield's chaos, let's embark this journey together, utilizing data representation to decipher the mysteries of life and completely change the world of computational biology. So in the end, I again thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey. Your newfound skill can create a profound impact and pave the way for a promising career in the ever evolving field of computational biology. The future is bright, and you are poised to be guiding light within it. Thank you so much.